JxmyHighroller. I've changed my mind on this debate. What do y'all think he's changed his mind on? Let's get straight into it, man. Road to 10K.
After years of judging, critiquing, hating on some of your hot takes, today, I'm gonna share some of mine. Okay. It is only fair, after all, that if I put others' opinions up for debate, contention...
Whoa, what'd that say?
It is only fair, after all, that if I put...
Steph isn't actually that gay. He just... I'm not even
others' opinions up for debate, contention, ridicule, that I do the same for myself. Because like you, I too am just a guy who has a few takes and opinions that I wouldn't dare say out loud in fear of having my ball knowledge put into question. But today, I'm gonna do just that. So here are my NBA hot takes.
Let's see. Pre-ad coming.
Bigger plate sent just like the In preparation for this video, I thought about some of the opinions I've had over the years about players, teams, eras, opinions that I know are probably subjective and completely false, but I usually try to stay as objective and non-biased as I can. Do my research, refer to film, gather consensus when necessary. But in this video, I'm doing none of that. And instead, sharing with y'all 5 of my NBA hot takes. All right, so my first hot take is kind of hard to admit. I almost don't even want to say it out loud, but I'm going to. Tim Duncan has become overrated. Now, before you bring out the torches, hear me out. When Tim Duncan was playing, there were maybe a few seasons throughout his 19...
See, I can't even speak on Tim Duncan that much because I didn't really watch basketball when he was playing. You feel me? Like I told y'all call me bandwagon all y'all want. Obviously, I knew NBA, I knew certain players, something like that when I was a kid growing up. But I didn't start really watching basketball until like 2014, 2015. That's just the truth. Obviously, I've seen tapes, I've seen highlights, I've seen stuff with players, so I know a little bit. I got NBA knowledge, but I'll be real, I wasn't watching it back then. You feel me? But I know this nigga was like that. Nigga say he was born, but I know he was like that. Like
your career where he was considered the best player in the world. Yeah. No one ever thought he was better than Shaq in his prime. Many fans at the time argued that KG had a higher peak than him, although I would disagree with this. Yeah. And in the moment, for a good decade or so, you would be in the minority if you thought Tim Duncan was a better basketball player than Kobe Bryant. By the time Duncan retired, he was very underrated. Most fans had him somewhere around 15th, maybe just outside the top 10 greatest players of all time. But miraculously, over the past 5 years or so, Timmy has creeped from 15th to 13th to top 10 to where he probably should be, somewhere around 7, to now all the way within people's top 5, even top 3 players ever. And this isn't just a small community of Tim Duncan advocates pushing this propaganda. I'm seeing Duncan floating anywhere from top 5 to top 3 all time for a lot of fans these days. Even people claiming he may just be the greatest basketball player of all time. Guys, Tim Duncan was incredible, the best power forward of all time. He is not one of the 5 greatest players ever, let alone the GOAT. And I think what's probably happening here is younger, or maybe newer fans of the NBA are looking at his accolades and accomplishments and comparing them side by side to other greats and saying, wow, this guy really did a lot, and his resume is better than just about anyone ever. But if you watched Duncan's career unfold in real time, you would have felt the impact he had on the league and on the Spurs, but you would have also felt the massive role that the Spurs system and Popovich's coaching excellence played on Duncan. He was unbelievably consistent. He was a defensive juggernaut. He was a leader. But Duncan was also the beneficiary of the most competent organization in the league that prioritized team ball and continuity. From Hall of Fame teammates he played with for the majority of his career to all-time greats that played big roles in helping the Spurs win championships, Duncan was always surrounded by...
I feel like you can't really say this about Duncan because, like, I don't know, like, he just didn't carry no team. You can say a lot about Curry. He didn't carry a team. We had the best team of all time. But, like, you take Curry off of that team, they're not even nowhere near as good. I'm sorry. You replace Curry with anybody in the league, they're nowhere near as good. They're not. I feel like if you replace Tim Duncan, even though, you know, like I said, I wasn't really watching, I feel like you replace him with somebody, they might not be as good, but they're still going to be good enough. You know what I'm saying? They were that deep. The team was always that deep. So it's just like, you gotta look at it like that, man.
Winning culture and winning teammates. This is by no means a knock on him. In fact, he was a big reason why the Spurs were so cohesive. But only in retrospect would you look at his laundry list of accomplishments and neglect all of the details that came with it. For many years, the Spurs as a team and organization were seen as this staple of excellence more than Tim Duncan was as an individual. It wasn't Duncan and the Spurs. It was just the Spurs. They were one and the same, not this pretty good team with a fantastically great player on it. But if you just look at his resume, you wouldn't know that. You could argue Duncan had maybe a top 3 career in NBA history, but as a player, he's just not on the same tier as Jordan or LeBron or Kareem. I don't know how after he retired, he has slowly crept past Shaq and Bird and Russell and even Magic for some people. Duncan is one of my all-time favorite players, but he is not a top 5 player in NBA history. And it's odd to see a player who was so underrated for so many years become slightly overrated today. Now, I'd like to think of myself as sort of a board member, an executive within the organization of LeBron fans and Glazers. So this next take pains me to say.
Whoa, you're not about to hit me with no copyright. Chill out, bro.
Sabotaged many good situations throughout his time in the NBA, and his career as a whole has suffered because of it. We all know that LeBron has been held back by some bad front offices, selfish teammates, terrible roster constructions, but what doesn't get talked about enough is how he has gone out of his way to try to make good situations better and has inadvertently ended up just ruining things for himself in the process. Like in 2014, when he decided to sign with the Cavs instead of staying with the Heat. Why did he do that? Well, we all know why. The Heat were getting old, Wade was past his prime, and the Cavaliers had the cap space and a budding young star in Kyrie Irving to help reel Bron back to Cleveland. This decision eventually led to a championship, but what if he just stayed with the Heat? With Pat Riley and Spoelstra, where there's culture and accountability, I imagine his career would have played out even better considering where the Heat are today. Or what about when the Cavs went to back-to-back finals in 2016 and 2017, but since LeBron didn't feel they had enough to win it all, he orchestrated an entire implosion of their roster, which ended up being vastly worse, and then just left them again once things were beyond repair. Or most recently, when the Lakers won a championship in 2020.
He definitely could have got rid of some people, but he shouldn't have blew up the whole team. And exactly the same thing with this team. Because this team was dangerous, you feel me? I feel like this team versus the 22 Warriors that won the chip, it'd be a great-ass series. It'd be a good-ass series. These are some good-ass teams, bro. And if they would have kept this team alive one more year, bro, we would have saw it. Like, it's crazy. You got KCP. Oh, my God.
And instead of reloading with the same roster, the Lakers returned with a whole new team just 2 seasons later. These decisions do not happen without LeBron's okay. Throughout his career, he has been so quick to want more, want something better, and he can't wait around for it to happen organically, so he tries to force these things to happen. And when it doesn't work out, which it hasn't worked out a lot, the organization, the coaching staff, and even his own teammates end up taking the fall. As great as he is, LeBron has tried to play GM way too often in his career, and when he can't or he's out of options, he just moves on to the next new shiny thing. If he just stayed with the Heat, or stayed with the Cavs, or allowed rosters to build chemistry and young players to develop naturally over time, I think his career and the perception of it would probably be better right now. LeBron has willed his way to some of the greatest feats the sport has ever seen, but he has also sabotaged a lot of good things along the way. Now, here's a hot take for
what's the beef? What's the beef with Miami and LeBron? You feel me? Pat Riley and all that. Like, what's the beef with that? Like I said, man, I wasn't watching the NBA and all that, so I don't really know. But what happened with all that? You feel me?
And I don't care if I'm wrong. The corner 3 is not the easiest three-point shot. For years, everyone has said the corner 3 is easier than any three-pointer, and so there's an advantage to be had there if you use them right. I wholeheartedly disagree. In the NBA, sure, the corner 3 is shorter than on the wing or at the top of the key, but if you play ball, you know this shot is as scuffed as it gets. When you're looking at the hoop straight on, you just have a wider margin of error. You can shoot long and bank it in. You have a better perception of depth since you're looking at the backboard. It may just be psychological, but whatever it is, you cannot convince me that this shot is easier than this shot. According to NBA.com, this season the league as a whole is shooting 39% from corner 3s, whereas above the break, teams are shooting 36.1% on average.
Defense
now,
be
that's
collapsing
a
over here,
substantial
bro.
difference in efficiency from these two different shooting zones.
This is where everybody's over here guarding over here,
the corner
bro.
3 is easier,
Everybody's
but I think shooting percentage is higher on corner 3s than 3s above the break for 2 reasons. 1, the best shooters in the league, the guys who are on NBA rosters to drill a few threes a game, usually spend the most time in the corner. And since most players who set up shop in the corner are sharpshooters, the overall efficiency from corner threes is boosted compared to on the wing or at the top of the key. And reason number 2, a lot of threes taken above the break are pulled up off of dribbles. Players flying off of screens trying to square up and get a good shot off. And many times the players attempting these kinds of threes are the best player on their team, but not the best shooters. On the other hand, corner threes are almost exclusively set shots coming off of passes to a wide open man.
Exactly,
the very
bro.
nature of
This is why y'all cannot talk about my basketball knowledge, bro. I have not watched this video. None of my reactions are fake, bro. I said this shit, bro. I really be knowing, bro. I just proved that you don't gotta watch basketball for hella years to know all this knowledge. Like I just told you, bro. Like niggas don't be playing defense on niggas in the corners, bro. Obviously they do, but not compared to on the perimeter over here, bro. Like it's just not the same, man.
In the NBA makes these corner threes
easier
than any other threes because plays are often drawn up to get open looks from here from the best shooters in the world, shooting set shots with no one looks from
LeBron.
here from the best shooters in the world, shooting set shots with no one contesting. Corner threes, especially those real deep ones where you feel like you're behind the backboard, are not easier than any other three-pointer. Now I know I'm gonna catch some flack for this next take, and that's okay, because in a redraft of every player in NBA history just after their rookie season, I would pick Victor Wembanyama first overall. You might say this is just recency bias, you may think I'm crazy, and you're probably right. But Wemby would be my first pick. His progression, his poise, his confidence, his skill set, his potential. If you lined up every great player since the inception of the NBA, and if we're just going off of what we've seen from them in their rookie season, I would pick the kid in San Antonio. Now, my answer may be different if I were to pick anyone before they played in an NBA game. Maybe it's LeBron or Kareem. But based on what we know so far, give me the 7'4" alien. Wemby can do everything on the court. He's got the offensive skills, the defensive ability, and willingness. From what has been said about him, he is like a sponge with information. He's learning exceptionally fast on the court. And I think what's just as impressive as his physical tools, the kid is not afraid of the moment. He isn't timid, he can talk trash and take it too. He's got heart, and you can tell he really loves the game. Now, I think some players who are up there with him for the first overall pick in a redraft post-rookie season might be Shaq, Kareem, MJ. Duncan was incredible as a rookie, maybe Hakeem. Overall, their numbers are about equally as impressive. But the thing that stands out about Victor is that he's doing this at 19, 20 years old on a minutes restriction. He's already an elite two-way player, possibly even the best defensive player in the entire league. And he has the advantage of playing in an era where he is allowed to develop a well-rounded offensive game from the post all the way out to the perimeter, something that Shaq, Hakeem, and Kareem never had. The improvements he's made from his first game this season to now are already so massive that his progress alone really makes him stand out even amongst the greatest rookies ever. And quite frankly, I never witnessed these other players play in their rookie seasons. I wasn't there to see it in real time. And of all the rookies I have seen over the last 15 years or so, Wembanyama is way ahead of all of them.
Here's why we have to appreciate Wemby, bro. Because we are witnessing it. Like, we are witnessing him, you know what I'm saying, come into, like, how a lot of motherfuckers witness LeBron, you know what I'm saying, come into the league and really become that nigga. We really gonna witness Wemby become that nigga, bro. Like, a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, that's watching him now, a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, that grew up, you know what I'm saying, watching in the 10s, you feel me? Saw Curry, LeBron, all these motherfuckers, KD, all these motherfuckers. Well, we about to see this nigga, bro. We about to see him take over the league, bro. This shit's it's crazy, bro. It's scary. Let this nigga get some muscle, bro. It's scary for the league.
It's a terrible argument to make here. Sure. Does that change my pick? No. If you can ignore what we know about these players outside of their first season in the league, and if you had to choose one of them, I think Wemby would go first overall. At least for me, he would. By the time these other players came into the league, they were already relatively polished. Jordan was still pretty raw, and LeBron was playing off of sheer athleticism. But Wemby is having one of the greatest rookie seasons ever, and just by watching him, you can tell he's still just learning how to play in the NBA. So not only is he already incredible, he's just barely scratching the surface of his potential. Now, can this take come back to bite me in the ass? It sure can. but I don't care. If I could choose any player in NBA history
Put
based
on
off
his
of
jersey
their
and
rookie
all.
season and their potential and trajectory, I'm picking Victor Wembanyama.
Blocking Giannis
No,
shot
I
is
don't
so
know
crazy.
if this last take is even a hot one anymore, but it needs to be said. The 2017 Warriors are by far the best NBA team ever.
Yeah, bro, I don't see the Bulls being
Not just the best team assembled, not the best team on paper. They are, by a pretty wide margin, the best, most cohesive team in NBA history.
Yeah.
Over the years, people will argue that the 96 Bulls were better, or the 2000 Lakers, or if they're really out of their mind, they'll say the 86 Celtics. But no, the 2017 Warriors would dog walk any team you put in front of them. They were so good that it pissed people off. They were so good that everyone unanimously agreed that it wasn't even fair. It's been long enough now that the painful hopelessness that this team inflicted upon NBA fans around the world has subsided. But I'm sure we can all still remember just how overwhelming this team was.
Bro.
They made really good teams look incompetent.
The crazy part is, although we might not have the pieces like Sean Livingston, you know what I'm saying, Iguodala, we might not have all the, you know what I'm saying, extra pieces. I told y'all in one of my other videos, bro, I think about the dynasty or something like that. If we had KD on our team right now, I promise y'all Clay would play 10 times better. Curry's already playing to an MVP level, so it don't matter about him. Draymond's been playing decent. But we would be a whole better team. We'd probably be top 5 in the West. Like, being dead ass. Like, I'm not trying to say Curry needs KD. The Warriors do need KD, though. We do. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we were just a little premature. Like, the team was very premature. We shouldn't have assembled that team at that time. Like, now would have been a time where, like, if they all were the team up right now, even with Clay being injured and past his prime and all that, like, we would have been able to make noise in the West. If KD was on our team right now, we would be in contention to win a chip. You feel me? So, I don't know, bro. KD just shouldn't have left, bro. I hope he comes back before, you know what I'm saying, retires, the trio retires, but I don't really see it happening.
I mean, they had everything. Arguably the greatest player in the world at
like,
the time.
It was just a different type of offense. You feel me? Like, that's why I say Clay would be good today. He would be good in today's basketball because he'd get way more open shots. You know what I'm saying? People can't, like, I don't know. I just feel like he'd be way more comfortable in this situation playing with KD on the side, too. But it takes pressure off of him, Steph. Like, we see Steph doing it all. You know what I mean? And that's just what we're missing, man.
The greatest shooter ever at the peak of his powers, the most versatile defender in the league,
at the peak of his
arguably
powers.
the second greatest shooter ever, and somehow still managed to have a very solid, well-rounded bench. And not only did they have the most talent, but all of that talent worked really well together. All of their skill sets and intentions meshed about as well as a team could. So not only were they the most loaded
That's
team
why I don't
in
see why
NBA
people blame
history,
KD for
they
wanting to
all
play
bought
there.
in, and they all just wanted to win. So
God.
I not only think they're the best team ever, I don't even think it's close. Pick any other team to go against them, specifically the 2017 version of the Warriors, and the opposing team would be lucky to sneak 1, maybe 2 wins in a 7-game series. And those are 5 of my NBA hot takes. Hopefully I didn't alienate every NBA fan throughout this process. I just think it's only fair that after sitting on my high horse and judging everyone else's takes, I share a few of my own. So please go easy on me. Share your thoughts
They
in the
weren't even
comments
bad,
below.
man. They
Quarter
really
3
weren't.
suck. And as always, until next time.
Hey, man. Shout out Jimmy, bro. Shout out JxmyHighroller, bro. The Warriors, the 2017 Warriors were the best team of all time, man. A lot of y'all know this. I don't even really got to rant about it, but KD, man.
KD, please, bro. KD, please, bro. Come back to the Warriors, bro. Please. KD.